Walking the dogs first thing. So some of the stupid stuff that happens around here. We got fiber optic internet the other day because our other service was horrible. And they hooked us up by running a temporary line from the pole to the house over the top of the ground and said they'd come back and bury it later. Well, a couple nights ago, we got a call about 6:30. It said, yeah, we're going to come in and is it okay to install that line, bury it? We didn't think anything of it. We're farmers, you know, we were still working. No problem. Guy shows up. He works here till 10:30. And it's clear he's having a lot of issues and a lot of problems, but it's dark. He didn't have headlamp or light or anything. Kind of questionable is why. I didn't realize it was going to take him so long. We were busy doing stuff, milking, and we didn't realize. Anyway, so I had made it easy for him. I'd gotten the skid steer and I moved that log out of his way because I wanted him to go straight from the pole to the driveway, and the log was right in the way. So I get the skid steer out. I move that log. The skid steer jumps a track and ends up sitting right here. But he could get around it. Come out, he's leaving. He's got the internet hooked back up. Find out the line isn't buried. It's on the surface in a lot of places. And he's done a horrendous amount of damage to our driveway. He was supposed to run the line alongside the driveway. He ran it into the driveway. And so there's been a big issue now, and they have to come out and fix it. It's not going to be right. This thing is toast. The edge of the driveway is toast now. I'm not very happy about it. But it is what it is. Hopefully. It's never going to be right. We're going to have redo the whole driveway anyway, but this is bad. All this edge is chewed up. I mean, right down. Our driveways, he's got a space there, but all of this has got to be patched. It's, easily a foot width. Here it's more. This, I think he's trying to get away without patching this. This was not good. So they came and patched the driveway with cold patch. And I didn't have enough, so they went away. And I said, when you come back, I'll park the skid steer here so you can pick up all the debris and put it in the skid steer. They asked if they needed to haul it away. I said, no, put it in the skid steer. I got a hole I can fill. Guess who's picking it up? Because they came back while I was having lunch, quick threw in the last of the cold patch, and took off. Do not try this at home. Walking along now, I gotta pick up all these chunks myself for a driveway, my driveway, that I didn't damage. Really not happy. Our driveway is abused. It wasn't built for heavy trucks. This was before we got this farm, this was a light residential driveway. It was fairly new, maybe 5-8 years, but within less than 6 months of us being here and big trucks coming in and out, it had started to fail. It really needs to be torn up and done properly somehow. And I'm debating whether concrete would be better than asphalt. Probably be more stable. Anyways, we need to fix it because it really is bad. But I don't know whether lightly scarifying it and putting down a thin coat just for now. Of course, that's going to be money spent down the road that gets torn up later if we do fix this right. Or should we just budget to fix it right. In that case, this edge doesn't matter, but I know for a fact, because I damaged the edge over there and have had to really mess with it. Once the edge starts breaking, it just tears right up. So I doubt this coal patch is going to last long. So we'll see what happens. But in the driveway, probably that's probably what they're thinking. Well, it needed to be redone anyway, but if we have a 18-inch verge on the edge of the driveway. When I said run the cable along, and his work order said run the cable along the edge of the driveway, that did not mean the literal, very extreme, close edge. And certainly that didn't mean 10 inches into the driveway. So here I am. One more thing added to my to-do list that I didn't need to do. Well, I'm making a little progress on the bin. I've got these bolts put in on the legs. There's a pattern, and then you got to bend these tabs up against the cone, which isn't the easiest thing to do. Actually, I found a piece of wood that worked. I got to go down on the ladder and get it. So just wanted to get this lower, well, you have to get this cone secured because you got to reach inside to put these bolts in. My goal is try and get the top put on, because that way if it rains a lot, this won't get wet. I've washed it, it's dry. We've had a couple of dry days. The only problem is the excavator doesn't reach up as high as the top needs to go. So I'm gonna have to use something else to get it up here, figure something else out. At least if I have to lift it from the top. If I don't have to lift it from the top, if I can lift it somehow from the bottom, then it's a matter of just sliding it onto this. And then it gets bolted down. So there's that to do. I gotta put on the bottom cone, but I still have to attach one other leg over there, and I've got this leg to finish attaching here. It's getting late. I gotta start thinking about milking. Daily appreciation post of how transformative the slab has made things. Put the bale there. Cows can eat here. I can stand here without breaking my legs. It is a glorious July 4th here. Beautiful, clear weather. We had supposed to have a little rain yesterday. We got maybe a couple of heavy downpours for like a minute. So we have not had the rain that I would have expected. I guess I fertilized the other day, the two last fields I cut, and it did rain nicely after that. I guess right, we did have a kind of a sudden downpour there too. It actually rained more than I wanted. It's hard. The weather station's batteries died. I just replaced them, and they were dead. Maybe the super hot weather killed them. I don't understand. Anyway, it wasn't recording anything for a while, so I don't have my usual rain gauge records. But the pasture is regrowing nicely. We're still feeding half-day silage, buffer feeding the cows in the barn during the evening. I really would like to flip that. I'd love them to be out on pasture at night and in the barn during the day, but it's just not practical with the stuff going on in the barn and trying to get things done down there. Having the cows in the yard during the day, so it's better to have them here. Anyway, heifers are going nicely. So we're gonna get a neighbor's pasture over there to graze later. I just have to figure out how to get the cows through there and down below their orchard. I'm gonna have to measure it and map it out. And I really do need to put in some permanent fencing there in places, just because moving the temporary fencing is just adds a lot of extra time. Certainly the places we now know we need at least a permanent single line. That would be good. I got to get the I've got to get the calves, which are still over here in the training yard, down this lane. It's starting to fill in nicely. There's a lot of grazing out front. I just have to secure the posts in a couple places and get them headed that way. And that might be a task for later today or tomorrow. I don't know. We've got the summer houses. I guess summer house is right there. Summer house is being used tomorrow for a private event, so I've got to do some yard work and clean that up. So, see what happens. Well, by and large, I do need to top behind the cows, and I'm still debating when that's going to happen, because I need to do it in sections. I should really do what they've already done. I just don't have time to throw the mower on and take it off again. So I'm gonna have to figure out that, because that'll help, not only help spread the manure that they've dropped, but also reset the pasture, because there is enough stuff they're leaving behind now and some weeds coming in that I think it does need topped. Well, I spent a little time in the grain bin today. We got the top set. We got the cone put on and the chute put on. This bar going around both sides is in the way. I don't understand. Obviously, this thing is set up for metering it out with an auger. And also, putting this perpendicular means the handle interferes with the X-brace. I'm not quite sure how that's supposed to go. It just runs into it. So that is annoying. It'll be all right. Nothing ever works out. Design flaw, I guess. Now, part of that is maybe because I used the 45 degree, the black cone. It's not the standard either flat or 30 degree cone. If I'd used the 30 degree cone, might have been better, but I think the 45 degree cone will work better when we put the auger on, because the auger wants to come out and turn, and it'll go alongside the barn and out into the new milking parlor, if we do that, if we get that far. The whole point of why we added the extra legs to raise it up 2 feet was to be able to put a bin in here. But again, that bar, that brace is in the way. So we're gonna have to figure that out. Yeah, and it's gonna take some doing. Anyway, the instructions have not been clear on this. It doesn't help that we've owned this thing for a couple years and just haven't gotten it put up. And they didn't send enough hardware to screw the top down to the lid, so I'm gonna have to go buy some stuff for that. The instructions and the hardware didn't match the two pieces, the chute or the black collar. So that has been a frustration. But anyway, got it done. We're almost ready to fill it though. We could fill it. Don't need it Don't need to fill it with, don't need the ladder to fill it, but I will put the ladder on soon, maybe tomorrow. But I got to get, summer house is being used tomorrow, so I got the horse trailer out of the way. I got to move the excavator, got to move that skid steer bucket, finish clearing the path. First it's lunch. Well, I am happy to see another batch of killdeer chicks have hatched. I thought I saw an egg on the ground the other day, and I don't know where this group was. This may have been the group that was out by the stone island in the field. I was worried the cows had stepped on the nest. When I spread fertilizer the last time, I added some of that renovation white clover seed because it is a good idea to have several different varieties in your pasture. I've got at least 2 or 3 different varieties of clover. The general red clover, and then some medium clover, which has big, bright scarlet flowers, which are really beautiful, and bigger leaves, and less stem to leaf ratio. And that's the good thing about that renovation white clover. It has more leaf to stem, and so it can get quite big without becoming indigestible. But I also spread Japanese millet, which is a warm season annual, which is starting to kick off now. I haven't looked down the forest where I hand sowed it. I just sowed some up here with the fertilizer spreader when I fertilized, but all of this regrowth on the ground in the lane where the cows walk, this was all mud before, and now we've got plants establishing, and that's that Japanese millet. And at least for now, it's holding up against their foot traffic, which also means there's going to be some out there to regrow as the heat ramps up now that we're into July. So there'll be something growing here. We'll get them, they'll finish grazing this field. This will rest. This will grow faster. You know, with another 20-day rest, I don't know about in the lane, but certainly out in the field, it will grow better. And hopefully it's coming on down there. I do still have the corner field section that I've got to sow with something. And I'm just waiting for to do it before that we're gonna have significant rain so it can get washed in. It just doesn't sit there and get picked away by the birds and the mice and the turkeys and stuff. there is a good amount of cover out here in the field. Still only grazing half days, but we're leaving the heifers out overnight. I'm really impressed with the regrowth over 80% of the field. There are places, and it could just be because it's Kentucky bluegrass. It could be the compaction, and but definitely the stands of fescue and orchard grass are going great. Timothy always expresses itself about this time of year after the first or second grazing. This is the third grazing, and the white clover has really come out. That's a heat related thing. That's a open thing. Typically the red clover comes up first and then the white clover. It's yeah, I'm really impressed with the amount of cover ahead of them. It's giving me hope that the field isn't so bad and that we're going to get a couple more grazings out of this, provided we have the moisture. Now, it's started raining less, which has been great, but we still need the rain. Yes, Trixie still does have Percy on her in the evenings. It just makes things that much simpler for us. One less cow to milk at night. We still milk her during the morning. We just got the test results back from the whole herd's milk test. So Trixie is now, even with little Moo on her, milk is clean, good to go in the tank. So her morning milk will start getting saved. We're not herding for milk, even with us feeding silage, but now the cows are out on grass half a day. We're getting more than enough milk this summer to keep up with cheese demand currently. We do need to stockpile some cheese for the winter. The hard-aged cheeses need to get made, blue cheeses. So Trixie's milk will go to that. And Bramble's still feeding the other calves who should be weaned. It's just one of those things. Summer happens. It would be nice to get all the calves calved in spring. It would just be that much easier. We wouldn't have calves to deal with. Now we still have one due in 10 days, less, shorter than that, a few days, a week. So we got a calf coming in a week. That'll be okay because Percy's about a month old. So Demeter and Io really need to go out with the rest of the calves. And that will happen sooner or later. Late night walk with the dogs before bed. And the air is thick with mist. I sometimes forget how close we are to the sea. Filling buckets for the pigs. Late in the day, I was at the farmer's market today. Insert time lapse here. Not the sort of thing I film usually. Did that today. Some errands, a bunch of stuff, meaning that I didn't really get to do any farming today, and I got a lot to do. So tomorrow's going to be a makeup day. Yesterday I was on deliveries down to Portland again. It was just full on out of here after milking, trying to get back between milkings to help Allison. She had a late cheese make night the night before and got in late that morning from a trip. So yeah, it's just been a little crazy couple of weeks. And not a lot going on right now. We're sort of between. I'm working on the baler. We're between cuts, kind of. I have one last set of fields to do on second cut, but I'm really waiting for it to dry out. I actually did walk Farnsworth Marsh the other day, measured grass, and wow, that's a loud fly. The marsh is starting to dry up, and the grass hasn't started to head out, so we're still good for a late first cut on it. Just we haven't had a stitch of rain. We were supposed to get rain this weekend, this week, and now possibly this weekend, but haven't seen any yet. So we are kind of droughty. It's been a while. After all that rain, I don't mind the pause. It's been chances of rain and mist and every kind of gray weather, but just no actual precipitation. So I haven't been able to spread urea on the grazing field here. I do want to try and get manure spread. So yeah, there's just kind of, we're in a holding pattern right now, and lots of stuff going on that can't be filmed, that we don't film. Business stuff, store stuff, selling to the day onslaught. All of a sudden this week, onslaught of customers. Of course, it's after the 4th now, so people are up to their cabins, up for the summer to vacation and stuff. And so the customers have become a daily onslaught, to the point where the other day I tried working on the baler, and I was here by myself. I had so many interruptions. I actually didn't achieve that much. I probably only, after 5 hours, I probably actually only got about 15 or 20 minutes of work done. So, not complaining. We need the business. But it's just that level of stuff going on here. Like, we don't film business, the selling to the customers and stuff. That's just doesn't happen. Well, down to feed the pigs, and they're all lined up looking at me like, hey, get over here, where are you? So, give them some water first. Hello, porkers. Bigger lads. Hi, Red Mama. Hi, Red Mama. How you doing, sweetie? Hi. Little ones seem to be doing all right. I blocked the way of the skid steer with a horse trailer the other day, because the idea is we are going to move these pigs out of here up into the barnyard, closer. Just I've got to do some work down here. I got to get this rock pile out of here, and they can be in a different area. It's about time, and they'll be closer up there, easier to take care of this winter. So at some point I'll be trying to coax them into the trailer to move them up there, but I got to get that place set up first. It's a gray old morning here, and not overly humid. There's moisture in the air because it's gray. There's a little chilly breeze, and when it's not breezy, it's warm. So I'm actually thinking that I should spread manure on the grazed portion of the field. Rather, my inclination would be to spread some urea. But I think I may have over-applied it. I think there's still a lot of growth coming back. The area that they've already grazed is rebounding well. So I'm going to spread manure today, I think. And that should help me clear out the slop that's in the barn. Because the liquid manure that's currently they're putting in the barn is hard to deal with in our dry manure system. We don't have any kind of slurry storage. We don't have lagoons or places to put liquid manure. So I've got to kind of blend it with the dry manure, and that's been a challenge. It doesn't fit in the bucket easily to haul down and dump, and just kind of shove it around in the barn. And so I really like to get that cleared out. And mixing it in with the dry manure that I'm spreading on the field will be a great use of it, and just get rid of it. But I'm also thinking that in this area, now that they're getting past midway in the field, the meadow fescue and the orchard grass are growing phenomenally, and they've gotten ahead of where the cows are grazing, and so they're leaving tufts of it behind, quite a lot of material behind. Ideally, I would mow that, top it, and the cows would graze it, but now they're past. So I don't really want to affect the regrowth on the area that's growing well again. So I want to top the thicker sections, and I'm torn. Do I do that before I spread the manure? Then I'll just be covering the grass with manure, and the area under it won't grow back as well, because the mower doesn't spread the grass. It leaves a swath. My mower, the one I'll use to top. So, or do I spread the manure and top after, and the topping action and the driving over the manure will help break up any chunks and spread it out. The mowing will spread it out, and the grass will end up on top of the manure. keeping it from any sun burning off. I think that's probably the way to go, and it will incorporate faster. I'm only going to put on a light coat of manure and topping. The only problem is the manure has stones in it, so then topping afterwards, I'll be getting out of the tractor a lot to pick up any big stones because I don't want to hit them with the mower, even though the mower is quite good at riding over stones. Hang on, I got to tighten up this reel. The cows are up above. Ah, that's tight enough. Let's connect this power line. And I also need to get the baler ready today because theoretically this week there may be an opportunity to go cut hay. I got to finish putting the tines and the shields on the baler. So a little torn about which way to go, what's best. I'd also like to spread some urea, but I think if I get a coating of manure on this round, it will kick off any regrowth. But it's this tufty stuff that's up, they've left a foot of regrowth, and yeah, they'll come back and eat the tops, but each time we leave that, and there's a big section right here that they just laid down in, they didn't even graze it. So I think it's time to top, get the field reset, get back to growing. And I gotta move the back fence now. The area that they've grazed past the stone island is regrowing well. So I don't want to top that. I just want this light area in here. Now the problem with the drum mower is there's no easy way to set it up. Ideally, to top this, I would have a mower running about 6 inches up. And you can't do that with a drum mower. At best I can get 4 inches. So I am gonna end up cutting some regrowth, which will delay things. And not exactly what I want to do in July to set the pasture back any more than it is, because this is regrowing nicely. Even that dead area, you can't see any dirt. It's starting to regrow. I'm not going to touch that. I'm only going to go from the stone island towards the road and only hit the tallest tufts, because we haven't had significant rain in weeks. And so I'm worried about that drought pattern that we get into every summer, where it doesn't rain in July and August. And we cannot afford this year to not have pasture regrowth in August. We'll just be feeding baleage and cutting into winter feed. So that's not cool. So yeah, it's a whatever I do is going to be a gamble, whether I top it. And I think I have to top it, because if I leave it as it is, there'll be less and less forage regrowth. The cows will have less and less to regrow. So if I top it, yeah, I may end up having to feed bales in August. I probably will anyway, because if this, I measured the grass in the forest the other day. It's coming back well, but I see some of the Japanese millet that I planted is actually growing. So that's coming on, which is great. And I've just planted over in the forest some more. So, and because the cows had unlimited access to that for a week or so. And that's overgrazed. So it's going to take a while for that 2 acres to regrow. And maybe some of the Japanese millet will take off in that time now. So that I don't have that to graze this go around. So I really need this to come back as fast as possible. So we're just gonna coat it with a light coating of composted manure, and then probably top just the worst sections, and try and keep the mower tipped back as much as possible. I can't run it up because they don't like that. It'll break. Can't run it off the ground. I really just need a different kind of topping mower, and I think that's kind of false economy, having 2 different mowers. And I like the cut. I'll leave the dull blades on it, but I like the cut of the drum mower. So, and it does risk contaminating the drum mower with manure, so I will have to wash it off. But that also, the other benefit to topping this is it will spread the manure pats out, so they'll break down faster. So Gray day, perfect for that. I do need to be working on the baler too, though.
Went down to the dusty street, what was on my mind?
So I get it. You spend $850 on manure spreader, you get what you pay for. At the time, it was all the money I had. Still, can't really afford a manure spreader. And so it broke again. Full, of course, not very far along my trail. The chain snapped at a critical link. I don't have a replacement link. They're not easy to come by. You got to buy whole chain kits, and it gets to be worth more than the damn manure spreader's worth. And I've only been doing this now for 15 minutes. I was going to spend the next couple hours doing this. And I put sloppy stuff in here because I got to clean the barn. And I got nowhere to put the sloppy stuff. So I thought I'd just get it out, get it spread, get it washed in, get the grass growing. Not going to happen. Not sure if I can find something to tighten the two ends of that link. They're just the chain's just rotted. That link anyway, and I'm sure the rest of them are too, given now that I've looked closely at it. There's just... I can't catch a break. And I guess I got lucky only spending $850 on this thing, because I've been looking. My options are spending about $3 or $4 grand now on something that's not much better shape. I could spend 12 grand on a much bigger manure spreader, but also that needs significant, probably $8,000 worth of work. I could spend 28 grand on a manure spreader that would do the job used. Again, it's heavily used. 28 grand. And it's actually probably my best bet, because my next option would be to buy a new manure spreader, and the one that I priced out just to do it. And now there are some grants and some incentives and things I could get possibly to lower the cost, but it's 70 grand new. And that's all predicated on the fact of the type of manure I have, a combination of solid and liquid. The fact that I have to haul it distances, so I need to have an end gate so that the stuff can't spill out the back by the rotor there. And that one actually I like, because not only is it parts that can't rot out, it's made heavy duty, it's meant for wear and use, but also, oh wow, this is just a clusterfuck. I see now. It's not just that link that's busted, it's the whole damn chain. It's all globbed in there. Well, that's just lovely. That's just, once again, the damn manure spreader is broken when it's gobbed full. I can't do this today. I just can't.